I'm Ritu Rani. I'm your ARIA National Commercial Chair. I want to first start off with thanking Amy Kong, who's our national president and leading us. There are lots of exciting things happening in the commercial committee, including this commercial coffee, but there's some other things that I want to mention before we get started. We've got our CCIM $1,500 scholarship open to all ARIA members. That email with the application will be pushed out on Monday. So, that's another benefit of our membership, and it was generously donated by Neil Sherman from Sperry. So big shout out to Neil and to Sperry. And we also have our 2020 summary, 2021 outlook white paper coming out from ARIA Commercial, and this was done in conjunction with Caldwell Banker Commercial, so big shout out to them. Thank you so much. Again, you get these for being a member of ARIA, so I encourage all of you to sign up. And without further ado, we're going to get into the heart of today's commercial coffee. I hope you all have yours. I've got mine. You can't really, it's going in and out on the screen, but we have our guest today, Zafir Rashid. And I had the honor of meeting him in person when he was down here in Miami. We had lunch. He was introduced by another one of our ARIA family members, Peter Leon. So hi, Peter. Thank you so much for that. And Zafir has such an incredible background. I'm so excited to have him here. He is the CEO of the Everest Group of Companies. They've got over $2 billion under management right now, and they have assets ranging from hospitality to multifamily, mixed use, medical. So we're going to talk about all of those things and learn more about Zafir. So welcome, Zafir. How are you this morning or this afternoon?
Good. How are you? It's a pleasure to be here.
Good. Well, thank you so much for joining us. What I wanted to do is I wanted to start off and have everyone learn a little bit more about you before we learn more about all of the commercial projects. So can you tell us a little bit more, like, where did you grow up? How did you get into this whole real estate game?
Yeah, definitely. I've had a trajectory that basically started from nowhere. I graduated from university. I grew up in Western Canada, actually, and I attended the University of Alberta, and was focusing on economics and other things besides real estate. But as I was going through my studies and even looking past what I would do, it seemed to be that I was drawn to real estate from the beginning. And
wow.
I had sort of gotten a little bit of experience. My family did have some real estate holdings, and you get a little bit of experience managing them, and whether it's some rental properties and such. But really, it seemed to be something that I was drawn to, and it naturally was just something I understood. I continued to have a passion for it, and upon graduating, I wanted to learn more. So it's funny, but I was sort of guided towards taking a job. So I actually got a government job when I graduated. But
was that your family, or was that
that was my family?
Your family, yes. Okay, and, cultural.
It was they're first generation immigrants, and it was typical to sort of guide you towards whether it's engineering or medical or things like that.
I know that story too well.
Exactly. So anyhow, I sort of got a job, and it was a great job, but wasn't really for me. And on the side, I had started actually working as a broker. I sort of took the course, and I got my license, and just wanted to learn more and more about real estate. Basically started buying properties, and sort of grew a portfolio. And in the beginning, it was just a few, homes and such, and rented them out. Then got into some home building, and basically grew that to about 40 to 50 homes a year. And then continued basically on looking at sort of the sort of the vertical integration of real estate and land development, and really started buying parcels of land, and learned that I was pretty good at picking properties and land that had potential. Really, it was really looking at
Hmm.
it from a different lens, and finding those gems that are sort of hidden, or somebody has not looked at it from the same way as I would.
Right.
And sort of those things just came naturally to me. And whether it was a parcel that was best suited for residential or best suited for commercial, and just through the experiences, learned how the zoning process works, the planning works, and really had so much interest in it that I learned a lot about the engineering aspect of it, all the things that go into really land development. And same thing, just the parcels kind of got bigger and bigger and bigger, from
Right.
whether it was 2 acres to all of a sudden 10 acres, and then you're doing quarter sections, which is 160 acres plus, and learning everything from what it takes to get it basically shovel ready.
Okay.
um, and yeah, I mean, so I have sort of a broad range of experience in construction, whether it's below ground and above ground. And really through the land development process, you get into some mixed use situations where you're doing commercial, residential, even industrial, and sort of the portfolio has grown into all different types of asset classes. And today, we're developing high rises, condominiums. We've done some student housing. We've done a lot of commercial retail. Um, and, um, and now, of course, my base and roots were really Canadian, and we sort of focused on Western Canada in the beginning. But then, wherever opportunities come, I've always looked at diversifying, and not afraid to go into new markets and learn the markets, and really utilize my skills and talents to identify things where I think there's potential. Usually like to be
Hmm.
a little bit of ahead of it versus trying to chase what everybody else is chasing. So that drew me to essentially other parts of Canada, including Toronto, where we also have some projects. And then my view was that we should expand to the U.S., and we sort of went into California first. Didn't really go all by myself there. We formed a strategic partner with a friend of mine that is in the San Francisco Bay Area, and so we started picking up parcels, and of course, utilizing my experience, kind of helped him, get into some properties that would have tremendous potential. So, I mean, we're doing over there, really, we just focused on mainly residential apartments. We have some subdivisions where we were building homes for selling, and right now I think we're developing about 300 apartments now at the moment, plus some homes. And
Zafir, so go ahead. I just wanted to stop you for 1 second. You're telling me that you have your family not interested in real estate, no real estate background. You're the first one in your family to kind of go against the grain and start doing this. Is that correct?
that's correct.
And you said you immigrated from somewhere else. Is that
Well, my parents were. So my parents are from Pakistan.
okay?
I was born in Eastern Canada. I was born in Montreal,
You're in
Quebec.
Canada. Okay.
Yeah, so basically, I'm born and raised in Canada.
Okay.
Um, and yeah, so mainly it was, we were sort of in Eastern Canada and moved to Western Canada. My father was actually a chemical engineer
Okay.
by trade. So he essentially, I mean, he obviously saw real estate as a good investment, and did buy real estate properties, and as he sort of aged, he actually ended up going back abroad. He actually ended up working for a pretty big oil company in Saudi Arabia. So I was sort of got my feet wet very quickly as to how to manage properties, and really all the issues that come with it.
Right. Right. Okay.
Um, so really, I mean, yeah, it was really that experience that, and I realized that I'm good at it. And, and,
Yes.
and,
Well,
and yeah, I was good at it, and I wasn't afraid of it, and I wasn't afraid of sort of taking some risks to get bigger. Ultimately, yeah, there's risks involved in everything, and same with real estate. But I took some calculated risks, which helped me grow.
So when you left, clearly you know Canada the best because you grew up in Canada. So your first projects after leaving Canada, you decided to go out to California. Okay. Why
Yeah, and that was
California
really
then?
because,
And
a new market, understanding how the US works, how the financing works, although, construction is construction, development and land is the same. I understand those things very well. It was certain things that are quite different in the way that the US works. So, honestly, it was more or less just something that happened naturally because of the fact that we did have some colleagues and friends, and my partners were also on the West Coast, and we sort of had a network that it was easy to get into that market right off the
okay.
bat.
So can you tell us more about what you've done specifically in California? And I believe you've got a project there right now that you are building single family homes there as
Yeah,
well.
so we've got a subdivision. I think the total amount will be around 40 homes there.
Okay.
We're doing it in stages, sort of spec homes. We just build them, sell them. We haven't really gone sort of the merchant route where we build show homes and that sort of stuff. It's mainly, we had a parcel and it was a mixed use parcel. We had room to build some homes. We decided to build some homes, but really our focus has really been on the high density and multifamily space.
In the California market.
Yeah.
Okay, what can you tell me the name of the project that you're working on in
Um,
California? I think we discussed it was near Modesto.
yes. Yeah. So we have a project called Park Villa. It's about 170 apartments, sort of class A, multifamily. Um, the market there is very good. The occupancy and the vacancy rates are very, very, very low. And that is really just started construction now, I believe. And it should be done, possibly in about 18 months. And then there's another one that is a little bit more north, and it's closer to Stockton, in Manteca, and roughly about the same size.
Hmm.
And um, and then we've got another in the area as well, and that's more of a mixed use project where we will do some housing. It'll have some commercial, and it'll have a commercial and also a medical center with a lot of townhouses in the area.
Okay. Okay, fantastic. We've got a lot of our bases from California. That's where Aria started. So, it's good to hear that you're still believing in that market, and that's a place that you want to be in for the future.
Yeah, I believe that the market is very strong, especially
Hmm.
being out of the core San Francisco Bay Area. I think there's been some movement more. Can say, especially during the COVID time. I think there's some movement happening where people realize that they don't need to be in San Francisco itself, and they can be an hour and a half out and have a very good lifestyle, and obviously save money. So I think that's driving it for sure. But I do believe in that market.
Okay, that's good to hear. Now, speaking of saving money, one of my favorite markets is Florida because I'm from there. Um, and I know we've talked a lot about your project in Orlando, and I want to give a shout out to Michelle Joyeux, who's the president of ARIA, the Orlando chapter. And tell us more about that project because that's fascinating to me. It's so massive, 217 acres, 3 hotels, multifamily, retail. Give us a little overview on that one. And I want to specifically also talk about
Yeah,
one of the hotels and the cultural aspect of it
sure,
being a
sure.
dry hotel. So,
Yeah, so it's interesting that we were originally working on a multi-hotel project actually in the Dominican Republic in Punta Cana,
mhm,
and the idea was that we would develop, and we sort of looked at the statistics and the demographics of people, and we thought that Punta Cana was a good place to have a sort of something different, more of a conservative lifestyle hotel. It had a lot of flights from so many different countries and direct flights, and for
Right.
vacations, whether you're in the UK, whether you're in Europe. Canadian market was very strong, and the US market is picking up now. Dominican was at that stage where majority of the people coming were from the US. So through that, we decided to sort of slow that down a little bit, and I started looking to Florida. I'd already been in Florida and been looking at a lot of opportunities, both obviously in hospitality, but also in the multifamily space. And we came across a property. I mean, I sort of, what I typically do is I just drive around and
Right. And
sort of get a feel for everything. And so I did that over years, actually, prior to actually really diving into the market. I have a whole bunch of buddies, and we come golf here almost every year.
in
For about,
Orlando.
in Orlando, we've
Okay.
been doing it for probably 10 years plus. So knew it, but never really got into the market and sort of analyzed and got to know what areas are good, what's not. Um, we seen the property values as well, and I was really focusing mainly in the iDrive area. But it's funny, but we ended up finding this parcel, and I was looking at the values, and I was like, they don't make sense at this stage. And so me, I sort of take on some headaches. I'm used to it, and I don't mind the challenges of taking on a parcel or
Right.
land that might have some issues and some risks associated with it, right? It's usually calculated, and there is some a process and thought that goes into it, and seeing basically minimizing those risks.
Hmm.
So I started focusing really around the Disney area, looking at not just a hotel site, but sort of a master planned community that I can develop. That's what I really like doing. That's really my passion, is taking something that's completely raw and really developing
Right.
it into concept. And fortunately, we through a network, we were able to find a parcel this big, 217 acres, which it's very hard
Huge.
to find something that has
Yes.
been around Disney, never mind. Of course, it had some issues related to it, whether it's wetlands and all the things that you really deal with in Florida, environmental. But we were patient on it, and worked through a lot with our consultants, engineers, and got basically a zoning is the best zoning you can get. It allows us to do a lot of mixed use, whether it's commercial, retail. There's no height restrictions. You can do residential, you can do hospitality, and so it's, for me, that was amazing to have that. And so, which pretty much means that now you've got to come up with a business model that makes sense.
Right. So let me ask you, for people listening, how long does it take from the time that you figure out where you want to buy the parcel to buying it, getting all the zoning, to building something like this? How many years is that whole process?
Um, Honestly, it varies, and it can be it can take a long time. I mean, you can look at something that's a year to, could be 5 years, 6 years. You're dealing with a lot of regulatory bodies,
Hmm.
and that was even more so here in Florida, because you're dealing with uh, whether it's environmental regulators at the federal level or at the state level. You're dealing with um, conditions such as wetlands, and there's a lot of environmentally protected areas as well.
Yes.
Then you've got protected species. There's all sorts of things that you have to sort of mitigate.
Hmm.
And really, it boils down to having a really good consultant. This is where it pays. It's better to really hire the best of the best, because if you don't, then that's going to prolong, and you'll make mistakes along the way. But yeah, it can vary. In our case, we were fortunate that we had structured our deal in a way that we wanted a lot of things sort of approved prior to us acquiring that parcel.
Okay.
And so we made it contingent upon that. And we sort of actually went through a formal public, you can say, application to make sure that the municipality understood what we were trying to do and were on side with it as well. Because sometimes you will have an idea and it might be even consistent with the zoning, but once it gets to sort of, it could run into a lot of roadblocks. So we sort of went through that. But like I said, it was sort of, I believe some things are meant to be,
Yeah.
and things kind of, it didn't take long for us, to be honest.
So what do you have planned there? How many units in the multifamily? Tell us about, the 3 hotels. How many units are there going to be there?
Yeah, so we've developed a concept. Yeah, we've developed a concept. It's a mixed-use concept. It's going to have a great deal. It's going to have about 100,000 square feet of commercial retail. We will be putting a large medical center in there, which will consist of a surgery center, pain clinic, potentially cardiology as well, and other things that are sort of part of it. But the anchor really is a pain urgent care surgery center, and it's going to be about a 30,000 square foot medical center. Along with that, we're developing 700 multifamily apartments. We've got 3 major hotel brands, and we're sort of going outside the box, and we've actually brought in brands that are not currently in Orlando. Due to the
Okay.
nature of sort of at that agreements level, I'm unable to sort of disclose who they are at the moment, but I think within a 30-day period that will become very public. But really, we're focusing on a 5-star resort hotel, but with also conference facilities, approximately 400 keys. It's going to consist of 200 hotel rooms and 200 condo hotel units for sale, as well as a family-friendly, kids-friendly brand that's also coming in, and that's also about 300 units as well. Mixture of same condo hotel units and hotel. And one of the most unique brands that we're bringing is a brand from Dubai, which will be a conservative sort of lifestyle hotel, a dry hotel with an alcohol-free environment, but also catering to more of a women and modesty experience. You can say, women-focused spas, and sort of allowing for separate facilities if they choose to, for really women's only facilities. And that could include a spa, gyms, and all that stuff, pools. And that is a well-known brand in the Middle Eastern and North Africa region,
Mhm.
and is very successful. So that's also going to have a combination of hotel units and residences.
So let me ask you, that whole idea of having, a cultural brand. I mean, I think, Orlando's got tons and tons of hotels. Having that as like a unique feature, I think is going to be such a draw to people. Now, you mentioned it was a Middle Eastern brand. Is that only for like specific religions or cultures? Is it open to everyone? Can you tell me a little bit more about, your vision behind that? And
Yeah, absolutely. It's open to everybody, and we had done quite a bit of research, and it's purely a business decision. Although it'll
mhm,
have a social impact, and it will
of
be
course,
very attractive to a large demographic. It could be predominantly people that are of the Middle Eastern descent or Muslim culture, but at the same time, what's happened is through sort of the press releases and people finding out, you get approached by almost every religious minority or demographic, and people that say that this is very appealing to them. And the same
right,
question come up is this only for your, is this only for Muslims? No, it's not.
right,
It's actually open to everybody and anybody that sort of feels that they value modesty a little bit more. They have conservative value. They want to go in an alcohol-free environment. They appreciate those amenities. And actually, it's a niche, but there's a large population that wants that.
I
And so
know,
there's nothing available in the North American market. So not only do we have a large population base here in North America, but then you've got the international. And Orlando works well because Orlando is an international destination and a vacation
mhm,
place for many people, whether it's in the Middle East, whether France and Europe in general. But everybody comes to Disney World
yes, they
for one
do,
reason or another, and they come multiple times. And yeah, and everybody's familiar with the market. But now you give them an option of having this type of hotel available to them should they choose to, it's very attractive, and it's actually picked up a lot of interest from a lot of people. And we believe that, in my opinion, it's going to be very, very, very successful,
I
even in comparison to the other hotels that we have.
yeah,
Just
I think
because
so
you're
too.
dealing with a large demographic and there's nothing for them.
Right. Do you have plans if I'm sure it will be successful to expand that brand into the US, into other locations after?
Absolutely, absolutely. I think it's about proving the model, proving that it's sustainable, it's feasible, and show the success of it. Um, and we already have multiple destinations already in mind where we do own property that we would utilize this. I've already spoken about Dominican and having a Caribbean destination as well with the
Fantastic.
same concept. We would look on the West Coast as well. Same thing in the Los Angeles area is where we were already planning on it. We do have some property in that area that we're holding on to. And so, same type of thing. We don't want to just focus on that, but, sort of develop a mix, multiple hotel concept. But we're also bringing in hotels they're not familiar with Orlando yet, but wanted to be here because, the numbers
Hmm.
prior to obviously COVID, 88, 90 million people visiting Orlando. It's a pretty significant number.
Yes.
But there's also a lot of competition. So you want to start bringing things that are different, but they also have a following and members. And whether it's even from a real estate perspective, people will buy it. Foreigners will buy it,
Yeah.
because they recognize that brand and they're familiar with it because it's in Europe or in the Middle East.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. I usually like to leave some time for questions, and I only have 2 more minutes, but if anyone has any questions, please type it in the chat box. Maybe we can get one question in. I wanted to touch a little bit on the medical stuff as well, because I know we talked about that, and that concept is just, it's, I don't want to say revolutionary, but it's pretty new that, patient care is moving away from or patient surgeries, I should say, are moving away from procedures, are moving away from hospitals. You are building facilities, you've got them in New York, you're planning on building them here. Can you tell us, like, for 1 minute, just a little bit about that?
Yeah, essentially, look, there's obviously, like I said, we sort of look at opportunities, and the opportunity right now is that a lot of people are moving away from the hospital care. They prefer outside and outpatient care, especially during COVID. I think people have realized that they would prefer to go into centers that are more specialized and focused. So the idea is that what we believe is that there's a lot of things such as, whether it's orthopedic surgery, whether it's cardiology, whether it's anesthesiology, and many other, we've seen this with dialysis, is that it's moving to more of an outpatient. It's cheaper, it works better, the insurers are going to like it, the patients are going to like it. I think it's about building a better experience. I think if you start adding those values that hospitals are not able to do consistently across the board, we believe in the market of bringing and building these medical centers, and really just, and the more we go with it, the more pieces are coming together on it. And there's so many people
Yes.
that desire to be part of these things.
Yeah, well, that's incredible that you're building those facilities, and I think New York and Florida are great markets for that. Hopefully, you'll be expanding. I see a lot of thank yous, and we are out of time, but I really appreciate you coming on and telling us a little bit about yourself and your projects, and hopefully, you'll be a friend of Arya for a long time. So, thank you so much, Zafir.
Thank you very much. It was my pleasure, and I really appreciate the opportunity to really give you information on myself, of course, and our company.
Okay, great. Bye, everyone. See you next month.
Thank you. Bye bye.